Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of My Dog Ate My Podcast. I'm your host, Emily, and every week I chat with a different dog owner about their dog. This week I'm chatting with Genevieve, who is the proud dog mom to George and Charlie, the 4 and 9-ish year old Cocker Spaniels. Please enjoy. I feel like I see like the edge of a dog on your bed.
Oh, you definitely do. Hold on. Let's see. Charlie.
Oh my God.
She's just thriving. They're happy because I'm home. Once I get home in the afternoons, they're like thriving, looking out the window, doing their thing. And George is down. Let's see. In his bed down here.
Oh, George. So which one's younger and which one's older?
Charlie is older and she's our rescue. So we've had her for maybe 7 years now. And I think I've told you this before, but we don't know how old she is. They told us 2, and I just don't think that's the case based on all the things the vet has told us. So we think she's a little bit older, maybe closer to 10, 12. And she's starting to get so white on the face too.
Oh, that's how it is with Rue, my Great Dane. People ask me now, they're like, how old is she? I'm like, I don't know, 10 to 12, 10 plus, something like that. She's also very frosty. So when I got her, I think they said she was like a year. And then we got her spayed and the vet looked at her teeth. They're like, oh, she's closer to like maybe 3 years. So I'm like, okay, so give or take a couple years. So it's just the same situation. Maybe 10, maybe 11, maybe 12, maybe 9.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
The vet is like, I've never seen teeth and hips like this in a dog that's 8 years old. And I'm like, yeah, we don't actually know.
And then George is 4 for sure.
George is 4. We got him from a breeder in Puyallup who we still talk to all the time. I don't know if I've told you this crazy story that at work, I was at the coffee shop and I saw this woman with a dog that looked like freakily like George. And so you don't see a lot of like chocolate Cocker Spaniels. So I went up to her and I was just like, oh my gosh, your dog's beautiful. He looks just like mine. And we found out they were from the same litter, which was
oh my
so
gosh.
weird. So we introduced them and they like loved each other so much. It was like the cutest little like puppy story. And now George sits in the courtyard where they met every time I take him to the office. And I'm like, you're looking for your brother.
Oh, that's so sweet. What led you to Cocker Spaniels? Like, had you had any before Charlie, or what led you to Cocker Spaniels?
I grew up with a Cocker Spaniel. Growing up, we usually had big dogs, so I was a big dog person. And then when my mom and my stepdad got together, he had a senior Cocker Spaniel that had one eye named Uno. And Uno was blind in his other eye. So he just like wandered around and like ran into walls, and he was the cutest thing ever. And then I feel like we kind of stumbled back into Cocker Spaniels because Charlie was a situation where a family needed to rehome her. I think they had toddlers and she has had, we can talk about it a little bit more, but some like behavioral stuff that I think could be challenging for a family with small kids. So when we saw her on Facebook, it was like a friend of a friend looking for someone to take her and rehome her. When we saw her on Facebook, I was like, okay, like that's the perfect size apartment dog. I've had a Cocker Spaniel before. I love their temperament. I don't think we ever would have ended up with a Cocker Spaniel unless she like presented herself to us, and then it became like the perfect fit for us as far as the breeds, like demeanor, size for our apartment living at this point. They're such couch potatoes and we are couch potatoes. So it's funny, I like take them on walks and they are the ones that are like sitting down and ready to go home.
Oh, I mean, I can kind of tell by like Charlie just being on your bed and George just being curled up. Like, yep.
Yeah.
They're good. I do have a question about Uno. Was Uno named Uno because of the one eye?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Uno was named Uno. My stepdad got him and he had one eye.
Okay.
Like something happened and he had one eye. So that's why he named him Uno.
Okay, I was gonna say if he like had two functioning eyes and he named him Uno, maybe he was like dooming him from the start.
No, but it was funny that he became blind in the other one. So I was like, you're called Uno, but that one eye you got left doesn't even work for you.
So tell me a little bit then about like Charlie's like behavior and what are the good, the bad, the ugly of her?
I'll give it to you straight for sure because we've been on a journey. So when we got her, I had just graduated college with within like 6 months. And it's so funny. Everyone tells you, like, don't get a dog when you're young, it'll like tie you down or whatever.
Mhm.
But I grew up with dogs, so having a house without dogs doesn't really feel like having a house to me.
Same.
So it didn't feel like an option. Looking back, I would have probably given myself a couple of years dog free because there is so much responsibility, but I wouldn't change a single thing, of course. But when she came to us, we knew that they were rehoming her. I'm trying to remember. Maybe we didn't know she had any kind of behavioral. I think the original like angle we got was that they had small children and it wasn't a
Mhm.
good fit for them. And we realized pretty quickly, one, she has a lot of anxiety, we could tell just in general. But then she had some resource guarding issues, which I know the word for now. At the time, I definitely didn't. So we had like an incident where we're playing with her with a bone and she was on her back in a super vulnerable state. And she got a little nippy. And I was so freaked out because I had never had a dog that had any kind of biting or anything like that. So I
Mhm.
was like, oh my God, what do we do? So we started working with a dog trainer that specialized in like behavioral things. And that was in North Carolina. And then as soon as we moved out to Seattle, I found somebody out here that we worked with quite a bit. And honestly, it's been a journey of just like making her more confident and feeling secure in our house. And then also knowing like the things that are her trigger and just not putting her in situations in which she's going to act out, which makes me feel a little bit like a helicopter mom sometimes. Because if people are over, I'll be like, okay, she's perfect. She will not bother you, but I just ask that you like, I don't know, don't put a bunch of food between her and another dog or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been quite the journey. And I would say we are like 99% of the time in a great spot with her. She'll still have a little bit of outbursts. One of her triggers is just like being in pain in general, and she does have some hip issues.
Mhm.
So you just have to be careful when you're kind of like, I call it manhandling her, like picking her up and putting her
Yeah.
down. But yeah, I would just say like the biggest takeaway I had for it was find someone who is an expert in dog behavior and like I guess behavioral psychology. I don't know if that's exactly the right term. But even just having the words to understand exactly like she's not a bad dog. She
Yeah.
just has these things that we need to be mindful of. And also, it's just as much my responsibility to like understand what she's trying to tell me before an incident happens because there'll be
Mhm.
so many signs with a dog. And yeah, so it's been a really amazing journey with her.
How long was it before you got George?
I think Charlie was about 2. So we got George and it I actually talked to our dog trainer who we found out here in Seattle has also kind of been my person that I leave our dogs with. I'm a little bit picky about it just because of Charlie and all of her like quirks and things. So we stay in touch with her quite a bit, even though we don't do as much like active dog training with her anymore. And so when we were thinking about getting another dog, I had a lot of conversations with her about what that would look like for Charlie and like what would be best suited for Charlie and having a companion in the house because she's not always that receptive to other dogs, especially if another dog isn't like picking up her signals on things,
Yeah.
in which puppies are not going to pick up a lot of those signals. So the dog trainer recommended to us like breeds in general if we were going to go not into cocker spaniel and then finding a dog who has like parents with super mellow temperament and then also she recommended a male because I think females can be a little bit of the alpha in certain
Yeah.
situations. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, like, female v female, and then, like, male v male can
Yes.
be a little bit, like, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like her recommendation to us was to get familiar with like the parents potentially
Mhm.
of another dog we bring into our home and then to go with a male. So that's kind of the route we went. And I think it's always funny because people kind of ask like, are you an adopt don't shop person? And I'm like, I 100% love our story with rescuing Charlie, but also to in order to bring another dog into our home that would be really able to be a partner to Charlie, we kind of
Mhm.
had to seek that out, like a
Yeah.
particular type of dog. It's almost like I call George her therapy dog.
And did she, like, take to him right away, or how did she react to him coming home?
Oh gosh, it's so funny because I think she's so in tune with me and my emotions, and I was so anxious. So it actually went super well, but I was really, really anxious the first few weeks, and to a point where I had our dog trainer come and like I was like, just come watch them together, just come see if they're getting along. And she was like, the only issue here is you. She's like, you're so nervous. And then Charlie's like trying to figure out what you're so worried about.
Oh.
So they were great. I mean, I think it was just, we've had incidents where it's been like, I think with dogs, a lot of times it sounds way worse than it is a lot of the time.
Mhm.
If they like kind of get into it for a second. And we're trying to let Charlie teach George like what's not acceptable and what she is willing to let him do. And the way that that has turned out is I have the most passive dog in George in anyone. Like it
Oh.
is so crazy. Like Charlie looks at him and he's like, "What do you want? What do you need? Do I drop this?" Like it's so funny.
When you go into the office, you only take George, right?
Right. And he doesn't come with me every day. And
Mhm.
truthfully, it's because she is not as happy when he's gone. And it's funny, I keep them separate during the day, still because I think there's situations in which there just needs to be a certain level of supervision between the two of
Mhm.
them. But she can see him. So she stays in our bathroom and he stays in our bedroom. And so if she can't see him, she's not happy. And one time we took George with us back to the East Coast and we had Charlie stay with our dog trainer. And our dog trainer was like, Charlie was a completely different dog. She was so anxious the whole time. She's like,
Oh,
I don't think
no.
you should travel with just George anymore.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So they're a little codependent now.
Yeah. Does George have any, like, differences in his personality when Charlie's not around? Like, is he any more outgoing or independent, or is he still kind of, like, passive?
He's still very passive for sure. I do think he's more open with other dogs. I think he picks up on the fact that she isn't into other interactions. So when I walk them together, they don't have a lot of interest in interaction. And then if I take him to the office by myself, he's super interested in like figuring out other dogs. But as you know, like at work, there's a certain type of dog that's at the office. And so I think those dogs are typically like pretty friendly. And so his experience in the office has been like super positive. So all the dogs that he runs into, he's happy to see them for sure.
Do they both do pretty well with people?
Yes, they both love people. I would say Charlie's even more of a people person and she like gets up in people's faces and like tries to hug them and it honestly it
Oh,
gets me nervous. I'm like, Charlie, don't get in people's
yeah.
faces. So I'm always like, oh, one wrong move and you're nipping at people's faces and I have issues.
And what do you imagine, like, if they were both human for a day, what's the first thing that they would do?
Oh my gosh. Charlie is the queen of the world. Like she would want everyone just like waiting on her hand and foot. He's like a minion. Like he would just be so joyful walking around exploring everything. So that's the way I envision them. Charlie's like an old lady in my mind.
Would George be like Buddy the Elf when he goes to, like, New York for the first time and he's like, "Oh my god, you have the best coffee in the world, congratulations," like, just so, like, joy like, he finds gum under the rail and he's like, "Oh, this is amazing."
Yes, literally exactly. And he does that with like we give him like carrots and he's like, "Oh my god, this is the best treat I've ever had." And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay, it's a carrot."
what do you imagine that their theme songs would be?
Oh my gosh. What would their theme songs be? I feel like George is like some kind of cartoon theme song. I'm like trying to think of a good one. The one that like pops into my mind and doesn't really line up though is like the energy in the Jetsons theme song. I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever watched the Jetsons as a kid. But yeah, like that. And then Charlie's theme song would be something like lots of piano, like dun dun dun. She's kind of like a little scary.
Scary, ominous piano music, and then he's over there just like the sorta
Yeah,
happy, bouncy cartoon music.
exactly.
And then I think one of the last questions that I wanna ask you is, like, what kinda nicknames do you have for them?
Oh my gosh. I was thinking about this last night and thinking you might ask me this. They have 100 names. And I feel like I see this online and people say this about their dogs. They have like a million nicknames. But the one thing I see is like they can like kind of trace them back. I cannot trace them back. Like I don't know where they came from. Charlie's maiden name is Zynga, which we don't know where that came from. And we also call them brother. Like we call George brother and we call Charlie sister a lot.
Oh,
And then George is usually like Mr. Man, brother. He just like there's so many. I don't even know where they come from. It's crazy.
do they actually respond to them all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny, I'm like, you just know I'm addressing you. It must be like a tone in my voice or something. Or
Yeah.
they just get
And
it.
they're like, oh, okay, that must be me today. Like, I
I
guess
love
that's my name now.
Yeah.
So the rescue/shelter that you want to shout out is Brother Wolf in Asheville, North Carolina. Tell me a little bit about them, since one, that's a very cool name, and two, I've never heard of them.
Brother Wolf is the rescue from my hometown in Asheville, North Carolina. And I shout them out because I cannot tell you how many times in high school I would go over to their shelter and just hold every dog that was there and send my parents a photo and say, can we please have this one? Can we please have this one? Which only worked out one time for me, but they're amazing. Also, Hurricane Helene last year, like wiped through Western North Carolina. So I think they're still rebuilding from that. So there was all kinds of work they did to rescue dogs after and before the storm to shelter in place. So that's my favorite spot.
Awesome. Well, Brother Wolf in Asheville. I'll check them out if I'm ever in the area, if I ever make my way to Asheville.
What's your shelter of choice? I can't.
My shelter of choice, oh gosh, that's hard. So locally, Homeward Pet is closest to me, but I have been volunteering at Paws at the Wildlife Center, and they also have a companion animal shelter. So I'd say like the dogs and cats and companion animals in Linwood, because I've at least had experience now with the wildlife side.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I'll have to go over there and take photos of dogs and send them to my parents and see how that goes.
Yes. Yes. And then next time you'll be like, hey, I'm ready for another like episode. Look at these like 5 more dogs.
Yeah, exactly. All these dogs
Yeah.
I have. And then I'll have to move out towards you to have my little mini petting zoo.
I mean, I wouldn't complain. I think that's like my end goal, is just to have everybody that I know living around with like all the dogs, and then they're all friends and they all get along, and it'll be great. Well, I will let you go for the weekend, and hopefully you're like almost done working for the weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget that you can find My Dog Ate My Podcast anywhere that you get your podcasts. And if you're ever in or around the Asheville, North Carolina area, you should definitely check out Brother Wolf to adopt your next dog or cat. Thanks, and don't forget to subscribe to My Dog Ate My Podcast. We'll see you next week.